Hi guys, welcome to this new video and new age review. Today we're going to do someone who was highly requested, so I'm excited about this as well. It's always fun when you get people on board. So today we're going to do Megan Rose. By the way, hello, my name is Laura from Pleiadian Healer at pleiadianhealer.com. And if you want to watch more new age reviews, you can go to my channel on YouTube, and there's this new reviewing new ages and the new age trap playlist right here, and it showcases pretty much everyone who's already been reviewed. So right now we have quite a few videos on there, and if you have any more suggestions, you can definitely pop them below in the comment section. Okay, so and now we're gonna go to Megan Rose. So this person, yeah, it was a bit strange because I remember, when you're on YouTube and the algorithms just kind of get pushed, so you get all these random video requests or video recommendations. I remember back like in December 2020, a good 2 or 3 years ago, this person was really pushed. Like she was barely at, I don't know, what was it back then, like 10,000 or 20,000 or whatever. She was very low in numbers, but she started channeling and pushing all these channeling videos, and I think I watched like one or two. That was back then when I didn't really have these type of reviews, so I was like, okay, fishy, strange, whatever, nothing of interest. And then lo and behold, like 2 years later, you already start seeing them blowing up. So right now she's at like 79,000 or whatever subs. But yeah, back then it was already a huge thing with her channeling something. I don't know if it was the Galactic Federation of Light, or as all the videos here kind of say, Galactic Federation of Worlds. Who does that remind you of? Kind of like Elena Danon, right? Like all those other new cagers that I already reviewed as well. So they're kind of steering away from the Galactic Federation of Light lately, it appears, at least. And they're kind of either renaming it into Worlds, or they're making up this whole new group of entities called Galactic Federation of Worlds. Up to you to decide and discern. I already made my opinion up on that because it's all just BS. And at the end of the day, they're channeling these random astral entities, and you'll see that very clearly in her videos too, the way she acts when the downloads come in. So this person is doing that, and she's channeling all these things. There's also a playlist with intuitive readings, life Q&As, but it's a bit strange because when you go to her website right here, so her website kind of says no more private readings and no requests for a private or personal reading either. Doesn't that remind you of every single person so far? So, Magenta Pixie, Elena Danon, Elizabeth April, all these people, they're not giving personal readings anymore. And you kind of have to ask yourself why that is. So with her, it's the same case. Because if you go to her FAQ, how do I get a personal reading? No longer offers personal readings. There's like this random Q&A she does with Val Nek, which is a random entity she channels. How do you submit for those? All of that. So you have to be a member of her Patreon right here. So obviously they all have a Patreon as well, of course. It's always the same. It's always the same concept. If you don't have like something, you need to have a Patreon. Womp womp. So this is also a good one, with the entire Instagram scammers. Did she ever reach out for a direct message? Of course, these people never do. So kind of like redundant FAQs in my opinion. And then what's so weird is her website basically has nothing on it. So you go to her logo right here, or whatever that is, like her name written out, author, intuitive healer. That's all there's on it. And then you have a bit here, her about. You have the latest videos, which those aren't necessarily even the latest ones, I think, right? If you go to her YouTube, there's like one that's even newer than that, so someone's not really updating that properly. And then there's a book she has, kind of like Ismail Perez, who was pushing his book, and then people commented on my channel being like, and it was full of spelling and typing errors, and it was the most awful book they've ever read. And then stay in touch right here. So there's really nothing. Pretty empty website in my opinion. You go to her about page, which is basically this one paragraph, it shows you nothing, right? It's like, okay, Megan Rose is a healer, spiritual awakener, and author. how does that distinguish her from any of these other scammers that we already reviewed? I mean, it's just, you know, the repetitiveness of what these people do, it's just so blatant. Once you start reviewing like 10 or 20 of these people, it's like it's all the same. And she always has the same picture all over, by the way. She never has a new picture. Originally from Northern Virginia. Okay, great. Not from Southern Virginia, but from Northern Virginia is such a small state. Let's just be, it's not like California, you know, it's a really small state. You can drive through it in a few hours. So it's kind of silly to say that, but to each their own. After graduating from college, Megan pursued a career in nursing. All right, I guess the nursing career didn't go too well. Although nursing was very rewarding, I'm sure it was very rewarding during 2020 and on. Her passion for helping others continued to grow and defined itself. She was giving spiritual guidance full time, deeply committed to working with and healing the inner child. Okay. In her book, she details her childhood abductions by malevolent extraterrestrials. So I just want to point out over and over again, there are no benevolent extraterrestrials, period. I know Elizabeth April likes to push that BS too. Obviously, Magenta Pixie likes to push the benevolent beings like the White Wing Collective of Nine, like whatever random entities she's channeling. Other people like to push it too. Elena Dana and Marina Jacobi, all these people. There are no benevolent extraterrestrials. The only benevolent being that there is you. Okay, you don't even have to go looking for your higher self or something spirit guides outside of you. Go look for your inner self and your inner intuition. That's the only benevolent being that you would ever want to connect with. So just like that, they're always distinguishing and differentiating between, oh, malevolent and benevolent. It doesn't exist. It's a government psyop. ETs are a government psyop, and these people are just reinforcing it over and over again. The book is dedicated to the children of planet Earth. Well, that's the question. Are we really on planet Earth, right? Because planets in and of itself really aren't what we're told they are either. And according to several maps from like a few hundred years ago, we're not really on where we think we are. So whenever they always push that we're on planet Earth and a globe or whatever, what's really true about that? So I'm surprised to see that wording right here. Megan believes that having a divine connection is everyone's birthright. That's correct. So why do we have to listen to your channelings is my question. Through this divine connection, humans can create a loving planet. Once again, who says we're on a planet? We're somewhere, you know, somewhere where we're not. We're probably in multiple different places anyhow, but we're somewhere in a realm, all right? We're not like on a planet the way science wants us to believe. And a bright future. Okay, great. Why can't we have a bright present is my question. It's always like, oh yeah, you can have a bright future when you listen to me and you can ascend into the fake 5D narrative, but why can't we just have a bright presence right here? If everything's about being in the present moment, like Eckhart Tolle likes to emphasize, another reptilian looking person, what's this bright future thing, you know, like emphasize the present moment. And a lot of people aren't doing that. Like a lot of these people aren't doing that. It is her intention with her teachings to assist others in returning to their true nature, the nature of the soul. All right, so pretty empty paragraphs here, very stereotypical of all the other people we reviewed as well. So we're going to go ahead and just do one of her videos. There's, you know, whenever I'm airing this, there's probably going to be more videos up. So you have the featured videos right here. You have the intuitive readings. A lot of those are like an hour long, so we're not going to do those. We're going to stick to a shorter one. But and then there's these weird songs, whatever that's about. So what is one more recent video? Galactic Federation of Worlds or Neuralink. So I kind of pulled up both. We'll see how we get through one. We're going to start with this one right here, Galactic Federation of Worlds, the Anunnaki and the Moon with Val Nek. So it's always so funny how they put this Wikipedia thing below. Like YouTube obviously does that with they're a group of deities of the ancient Sumerians, la, la, la. And then they always say, oh, we're censored because that appears. Not really. What's a bit off, obviously, is always like the millions of comments that these people get where it's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Thank you to your random entity called Val Nek and all of that. It's like people are just buying this. But yeah, we'll see where we're going. And let me just pop on the volume right here. So Galactic Federation of Worlds with the entity she channels called Val Nek.
Back to my channel. So in this video, I have another update with Val Nek, and I'm also going to preface this by saying I might need to use different words because this is a censored platform.
Isn't it hilarious how these people have been around for years and none of their videos ever get censored, even though they say it over and over again? Meanwhile, me and others are losing their channel, right? I have to start over from scratch because we are really censored. Everything's pushed onto them, like they appear in the algorithms on YouTube, but yet they're censored. Yeah, absolutely not. And then also what I wanted to say is the setup's a bit strange. You see like the curtain in the background. I know people don't like when I complain about the setup. It's better than Lori Ladd's homeless looking car. I do give her that much, but it just looks very chaotic. There's a fake tree or a real tree. It's really hard to decipher here, but then there's like cables in the background. So it just looks a bit chaotic. Everything looks chaotic with these people. They don't care about a nice setup. They don't care about anything really. They just record their videos and then people buy their garbage. Also, you know how some people just look like ETs themselves? So whenever I saw her picture, it kind of reminded me of that. Not saying she is one of those, obviously, but it's kind of like Ismael Perez, who kind of looked like, is there a soul in there? We will never find out, right? Okay. And then as per usual, whenever you want to play their videos, there's always a technical error. So let's just see if we can go again.
So just keep that in mind and read between the lines. So I'm just going to connect with Val Nek. The first thing that he shows me is the moon. He's saying used for many, many centuries.
The moon, yeah. The moon is a satellite, isn't it? Why is the moon even important? It's not important at all. So whenever they come with the moon and the sun, which are both fake, you already know there's an agenda.
By your people and by others. He's kind of going like this. There are many misconceptions. I'm trying to set the
That almost seemed like she was trying to grasp her words and make it up. I think it's so funny how she always uses her hands. It's like, does that do anything when she does that? It just kind of makes her look a bit desperate, in my opinion.
record straight. He's showing me tall Draco reptilians. He's saying that
some of it is so bad. I'm always baffled how people aren't like bursting out laughing when they watch this because everything sounds made up with these people, honestly. Like, wow, tall Draco reptilians. Isn't this what like Dolores Cannon, like all these people who've been around for like 30, 40, 50 years, like it's just all refurbished, reiterated, like over and over, repetitive, everything. Like there's nothing new, right? There's no new information.
they have used the moon for many years. He's saying before that, he's showing me the Anunnaki from the planet Nibiru. They are evil.
What was her name? Barbara Machinek. Isn't she the one who always had this agenda, right?
He's underlying that. We do not work with them. It is not necessary. The Federation is independent from the Anunnaki. And he's going like this.
I don't really get what's so funny about that, but I'm sure there's some humor behind it. I also am a bit distracted by her tattoo right here. You know, I already had a video out on my old channel. I might put it on again on this one. How tattoos can encode and imprint something on you, for sure physically with the ink, but also energetically when you put it on. You're basically like a branded sheep. And I know it might trigger a lot of people because tattoos used to be so in. They're still super in right now, and people get sleeves and all of that. But to me, when I see a tattooed person, I always think how non-awakened they are because if they kind of put this weird cloud entity on their arm, it just makes them a bit immature, in my opinion.
He's saying, I do not want to confuse your people. I am trying to clarify. We are strong warriors. We do not need their help. And he's kind of rolling his eyes. He's saying the Anunnaki are involved with human trafficking in the past, not the present. They used the moon for many years. And he's also showing me soul recycling.
Okay, so she's basically combining David Icke and Barbara Machinek, but basically there's nothing new in her message.
They've done this many times. The masters of deception.
So, okay, she's kind of reinforcing the Anunnaki being bad. And then according to Elizabeth April and other people, the Anunnaki are good or neutral. So it's so interesting how we keep getting these narratives that contradict each other, right? I'm so what like because a lot of people watch all these people, you know, they watch like EA, they watch her, they watch like all these hundreds of other frauds. I'm always baffled how they don't get confused themselves, honestly, by all these contradicting information.
He's showing me like
She's grasping for words. She doesn't know it. Like her hand language kind of says it all, doesn't it?
construction. He's saying they have excellent technology. You're still talking about the Anunnaki.
What does it do when someone like rolls their eyes more towards like one direction? Doesn't mean they're lying. I forgot which direction it is, but it kind of reminds the way she moves her eyes. It kind of reminds me of that.
He's saying, yes, this is correct. Not the reptilians. He's bringing my mind back to the Anunnaki. He's asking me to describe the image he's showing in my head. So they kind of look like, and I've said this on my channel before, the feeling that
The laugh is like the creepiest part ever because other so-called channelers have that too. And it's almost like an entity took them over, in my opinion. It's almost like entity possession at this point.
he's giving me is I don't really like these beings at all. I really don't like them. They are tall. He's saying very tall, taller than your people. Darker skin, almost like dolphin-like skin.
Wow. You know, I thought, what was that guy? Sam the Illusionist was already bad, but the more we review, the worse it gets.
And like sort of like leathery but smooth at the same time. They are bald. Two genders, both male and female. They procreate like humans, he says.
Do you guys really believe if you're talking about these weird, strange beings from outer space, let's just say they say they're Pleiadian or Anunnaki or whatever, do you think they really procreate the way they do here? Or they really have genders the way they do here? Like, just from a logical perspective, do you really believe that? Like, it is such a human concept, the entire. Yeah, no, it makes no sense. I think she's watched, again, similar to the other guy, she's watched way too many Star Trek and Star Wars episodes, and she's combining that in her so-called channelings.
But they are not like humans. Different DNA than humans. He's saying some reptilian
But isn't DNA like a human concept? Just putting that question out there.
DNA, some mammal genetics. He's saying they are evil. He's showing me cattle.
So they're basically a mix between human and animal.
He's saying, I have heard Megan use this description many times. They see your people as animals. And he's showing me, he's saying they've done this for many years. Before he's asking his supervisor something.
Is this woman for real? Like she's channeling this random entity who calls himself Val something, which first of all, Val is like Valerie, right? Sounds like very feminine. And then this Val entity has to ask his supervisor, like, is this woman for real? Are the people who are watching this for real?
Before the 1920s, he's showing me all around the world taking different races and abducting them on their ships, sometimes on the moon. They had a base there. This is why they created it. I can confirm they created the moon. He's saying its use, very despicable, human trafficking. Enemies of the Federation. They have made deals with reptilians, and he's showing me a reptilian and Anunnaki shaking hands. to manipulate.
There's nothing really new about any of this, right? I mean, we hear all these channelings from others too. It's just like the random spin they put on it. Once again, you see how the hand movement is like all blurred up. It just reminds me of entities in her field. And something weird is with her mouth too. I don't know if she got like a lip enhancer or something, or if that's her natural state, but everything about this woman is just fake, in my opinion. It's just like the hair, you know, like the fake blonde. I mean, I don't know. It's just everything's fake. The tattoo, like there's nothing natural really, other than her maybe not wearing makeup. I don't know. It just seems so fake.
Manipulate the souls to manipulate human genetics. Very evil. He is showing me the Anunnaki, and I'm kind of just reading. I know telepathy can be confusing to people, but when Val Nek's not talking, sometimes he like.
Actually, telepathy is not confusing. It's just the way you're channeling with your hands that's really distracting from your actual message. But your message is nothing, so it makes sense you have to distract.
And it's easier. But what I'm getting, and correct me if I'm wrong, is he's basically saying that the Anunnaki in this galaxy, and he's showing me the Orion group, and he's showing me the reptilians of the malevolent beings in this galaxy. They are the master geneticists. So whatever technology they have, whatever genetics they have, they are like the kings and queens of genetics. Not necessarily of the benevolent beings, but out of the malevolent beings to work with. The Anunnaki are the masters of genetics.
Wow. This is really bad. So she got the benevolent and the malevolent mixed up already, as you can tell. And then in addition, you know, I just want to emphasize this over and over again. Why are humans always so targeted by these supposed entities? Like, we never get the real agenda, right? It's always like, oh, this happened hundreds of years ago. They're using the moon for this and blah, blah, blah. But you never get, why are humans so precious that they're attacking us 24/7? And you're never going to get that answer from these type of people either, by the way.
The Orion group, the Nibu, the reptilians, they respect them. They respect their process. They make deals. And he's showing me like Las Vegas people making deals. This is the
Don't go to Las Vegas, guys. Stay far away from there.
case with planet Earth, manipulated by reptilians, but firstly by the Anunnaki. They are not.
You know, she might have a good point, because I was asking myself lately, maybe Las Vegas is like the new womb of AI, like aside from this rubbish video, which basically gives you nothing. Because a lot of AI conferences are popping up there. And I noticed a lot of people who are actually AI, like robots, clone bodies, soulless beings. They're kind of pulled towards Las Vegas too. I'm not saying everyone there is that, but there's this weird repulsion that I myself really do feel for Vegas itself. I mean, there's really nothing there other maybe Death Valley or whatever, which could be nice to photograph. But you know, there's a lot of AI being pulled off in Vegas right now, especially after 2020 and on, when all the conferences picked up again. So there might be a good point here that I'm coming across. You know, that's just like the underlying message I'm getting from these type of videos. But these people don't know what they're saying, honestly.
Not gods, and he's underlying this. He's saying, I do not want to upset your people. I am sharing the Federation's position. We do not work with them. So I'm just gonna ask you, Val Nek, so the Anunnaki created the moon. He's saying, yes, this is correct, with the help of a few other races. So for malevolent ETs created the moon. He's saying, yes, that's correct.
This is so bad. I don't even know where to start.
He's saying you do not have to fear the Federation, the US Navy, Space Force, the Alliance, the best of the best. We have one.
Did he just say the US military is the best of the best and people are buying this? Are you for real?
We have won the war on Terra, the moon, and Mars.
So Terra seems to be this new word that people are pushing in the new cage. It used to be Gaia, and now they're kind of steering away from that and saying Terra. I noticed that too.
He's saying champions of the galaxy. You do not have to worry. You do not have to fear. Take your power back. Is there anything else you have to say about it? He's saying that's my message.
Mind blowing. We wasted 6 minutes of our time.
So I'll just give my 2 cents. I remember.
No, thanks. It's okay.
This is what
We don't need your 2 cents, Blondie.
Megan thinks. So I know people.
Like, no offense, but you know when people say blonde people are dumb? I mean, this is like the stereotypes out there. And I know I have a little bit of blonde in me too. It's like the stereotypes. You just can't even come up with them, can you?
Are going to disagree with me. But when we talk about and respect to anyone who says differently, when we talk about the Anunnaki being gods, where that information, I'm not talking about anyone giving that information, I'm talking about the source of that information. Why do they want us to believe that either Enki or Enlil is a god or the creator of the human race? Why are they putting?
Well, first of all, that's just a story that's emphasized since, you know, the New Age came about. So this entire story is completely infiltrated anyhow. And we're the gods. And you're not even mentioning that. Like, there's no gods outside of we're the walking gods. So this entire Anunnaki god BS is just, you find that everywhere, don't you? On every New Age channel.
Themselves in that position. It's almost like saying they're as bad as the Dracos. What Megan thinks. It's almost like saying, well, this reptilian,
I can't believe she actually thinks
evil, this reptilian is good. Either way you spin it, we're still giving our power away to reptilians. And in my opinion, this is the same thing that we might be doing with the Anunnaki, right? So benevolent extraterrestrials and benevolent beings inspire you to be strong within yourself, because they believe we're all part of source. So
why can't you just be strong without these entities? No one's emphasizing this.
So they're not above you, they're not below you, they're right next to you. And this is how you liberate people, and this is how you inspire people to liberate themselves. So in my
No, this is not how you liberate people. You don't brainwash them and drag them down another trap. You make sure that they get rid of these entities in their fields and don't channel.
opinion, any extraterrestrial claiming to be a god and enforcing their will on other people, or spinning it in a way that they are special, or that there's one extraterrestrial, one entity, like to be worshipped or to be idolized, it's very strange, because the Federation doesn't do that. They're not like for example, the Federation doesn't worship Val Thor or think Val Thor is up here, right?
I'm already. Are you guys following this? I'm confused.
Or any other entity in the galaxy. We're all part of one, right? So,
The idea of one, meaning you can't criticize because we're all one.
so yeah. So I'll leave you guys with that. Lots of love to you guys. I'll be back with more videos. Hey guys.
Okay, that was really painful, and I'm not sure we want to do how much time we have. Let's try to do a little bit of this video, because I thought the Neuralink thing and alien implants was interesting, but I don't think we'll make it through. Let's look at the comments here. She's not even getting that many comments on this one. Raising the vibration of the listener. This is all you have to know. She's like brainwashing people. Okay, let's look at this video.
Back to my channel. So I've had
wow.
amazingly annoying technical issues trying to make this video that I've never had before.
Wow, mind-blowing. Everyone has those, not just you.
And I'm so annoyed. I'm so annoyed, but I'm going.
Yeah, but then she kind of laughs. This is such a fake, flaky personality. This is the type of personality I personally hate. It's like these people, they laugh in your face, but they're like angry, right? And you're just like, what's going on with, like, they never show their real face, basically.
I'm going to film this and I'm going to do it, and it's going to be great. So I wanted to make this video. I get so many questions about alien implants and Neuralink.
So I think her tree in the background is fake. It always looks the same. I think it's like a plastic tree. Is that a high vibrational being putting a plastic tree in your recording room? I'm not sure.
And so I wanted to yeah, I wanted to make this video. I think that it's so like a complicated subject. I don't even know if people
I don't think this is going to be very complicated, but please go on.
watching know that there are invasive forms of mind control that are alien implants and alien implants that are
And Megan Rose.
used for communication. So there's different types, and there are obviously benevolent extraterrestrials and malevolent extraterrestrials, and there are good guys and there are bad guys.
I'm really so confused when they always come with this malevolent and benevolent. It's like, why are people buying this? I don't understand how people are believing this.
And they all use technology. Technology is a tool. So from my perception, technology itself cannot be bad or good. It's just technology. It depends on who's using it and the intention behind it, right?
Oh, okay. So your cell phone is not an observation or surveillance, is not a surveillance device, basically. It's a good technology, right?
Like, do guns kill people or do people kill people? You know? So
Oh boy.
I went on the Neuralink
Let's hope this video doesn't get sent. I'm just kidding.
website. I want to explain my perception of malevolent extraterrestrial implants, the Federation's implants. Yes, I've received so many questions. Why do these implants not show up on x-rays? You know, why can't people just get a CAT scan or an MRI and, you know, prove that they have an implant, or, you know, well, well, let me explain. So
It's way more fun when you actually fast forward it a bit. So that's what I'm doing. Its speed is like 1.5.
extraterrestrials. The Greys are fantastic. The Orion Grays are fantastic at mind control. The reptilians too, but really the Orion Grays gave the technology to cabal agencies or cabal programs to use on its people for mind control, to control government leaders, to control.
You actually do the speed like this, you really notice how much there, like nothing there is in what she's saying. It's like
spokespeople to have a advanced psychological and mind control operations, right? Implants are the most invasive form, the most dangerous form of mind control that our lovely leaders use. So I want to explain how they work and where they're put in the brain. There's no reason for malevolent extraterrestrials to put an implant in your brain other than to be used for mind control. Excuse me, my phone is now interrupting me.
Wow, we should have done this with the first video. It's really telling, isn't it?
But they place them, the malevolent ETs, cabal agencies, put implants in people's brains to control them. It's an invasive form of mind control. They put it in a part of the brain where memories are accessed. So how does this work? If you have a clone, right? Like you need to clone someone, and that clone is 40 years old. You
maybe she's a clone.
Have had the experience at 40 years old of knowing where you grew up, knowing, you know, where you went to college.
I'm just saying maybe. I didn't say she is a clone, by the way.
Your experiences and your brain is oriented to this reality, right? We see people with dementia, their brain starts to lose, is not oriented to their reality. They start to decline over time. They start to get confused. Okay. So in order to make a clone that is oriented to this reality, they're not going to wait. You know, you can never recreate the past and for them to live that exact life in the past, right? So instead, they use an implant. They download the memories or the reality. It could be a skewed reality that they want that person to have, and they implant it in the brain. So the person has a conscious awareness, and when they need to be oriented or retrieve a memory or retrieve part of their reality that orients them, it's stored in the subconscious. And so the brain accesses that implant. It gives them an answer, and they are oriented to their reality. They would never really know, right? And it's placed in the part of the brain where it cannot be removed without harming or hurting the person, right? And the form, or how do I say this, the shape of the implant, one, it makes it dangerous to remove, and also the location of where the implant is in the brain. So there's two factors that make it dangerous to remove. And why did the Greys,
are you guys still following? I mean, for me, it's like she doesn't know what she's talking about. It sounds like an interesting story, you know, like, oh, this is a fairy tale, let's just go on. But it doesn't sound like she really knows what she's talking about.
Why did the cabal make the implant that shape and make it and put it in that part of the brain specifically? Because of what it's used for, but also because they don't want the good guys to go around and remove it, right? They own that person. You are
right. No, I mean, you can energetically remove everything. Just saying, you don't have to go physically into a person's brain and remove it. You can deactivate it energetically all the time. So she really does not know what she's talking about.
Are theirs. They don't want the Federation or whoever to go on a rescue mission and be like, okay, well, we're just going to remove it and things are going to be fine and you'll be okay. No. They so the only thing that the good guys can do,
her laugh is like the weirdest, creepiest thing ever. I do want to point that out.
Is is overthrow the agencies or the extraterrestrials running that program or running that technology, right? So dismantling cabal technology, this is all a part of that, right? So when we see people on the mainstream news or big cabal players or big government leaders who are excellent liars, you know, going and saying that this is the best economy we've ever had, that is truly their reality. They may actually believe that, and their thinking, they're critically thinking impaired, and their way of thinking is extremely, extremely rigid because they have.
So that's incorrect. They're all just puppets, okay? So, I mean, this is just so misleading. Everything she says is misleading. Once again, notice her eyeballs here. It's almost like entities are over there somehow.
Something that's controlling your subconscious. I've said this and I've described it in many videos, but I don't think that I've actually said it like this. So
no, it's okay. We don't need to know.
Higher density implants, they're 4D and above, so they won't show up in this 3D reality. So if you need to get a CAT scan or an MRI, it's not going to show up. And that was
Wow. You know what? It's funny is some actually do show up in airport scanners, and obviously Blondie here wouldn't know, but it's true.
They don't want a bunch of people going to get CAT scans or MRIs and seeing these things or seeing these implants in the brain, right?
No, you shouldn't do that anyhow because you don't want to do radiation therapy, but whatever.
And also, it makes it easier to place when it's a different higher density because they can place it in between the matter, in between the 3D matter.
So she's basically talking about this fictional alien implant, which you're never going to be able to pick up on. She's the only one who knows about this, and these entities are telling her about it. Wow.
Don't need a brain surgeon to go in surgically like 3D and avoid certain places, right? So it's more of like, it looks more of like a frequency with a physicality, but it's in a different density, so it meshes with the brain easier. It's between the 3D matter of the brain. All right, just stopping recording to make sure this one actually recorded. So in conclusion,
she doesn't make herself look very smart. I do have to say that. You know, it's just there's something about her that I just feel I get the dumb blonde vibe. And you know, I hate to overgeneralize like this because I have a lot of blonde friends. Don't get me wrong, but there's stereotypes for a reason, and I feel with her that's the reason.
these implants are run by agencies. They are of a higher density. The intention is mind control. They cannot be removed without hurting or harming the person, right? And that's all on purpose. It's part of their the enslavement of the planet, right? And it's put in a part of the brain that accesses memory. I also didn't mention this too. So when we talk about psychic abilities or channeling, people can be channeling from an implant, right? And giving information.
So is that what she's doing?
From an implant or channeling from a
channeling from an implant.
Subconscious. I've done so many videos on what is a message from the higher self or what is a message from an ego or a negative entity, and the information will be very ego-based, fear-based, and like it's coming from the ego or the subconscious, right? So it will be reflective of that. So yeah,
all these different types of channelings instead of just not channeling and just listening to your own intuition. How about that?
The benevolent extraterrestrials, what I found interesting about Neuralink is it's marketed on a website as connecting, putting an implant in the brain and connecting to technology. The Federation does the same. They have implants in the brain to connect with ships, interface with all the technology, and also speak telepathically to each other. So, you know, do I think that we should, and that's a good idea for us here on planet Earth in this climate? No. No thanks. It's going to be a big no from me. No thank you. But the Federation has implants to connect to technology and to telepathically speak to each other. Imagine how fast, like how narrow your friends list would be if they could hear their voice in your head. Like, I think we would have a lot less friends because we wouldn't want to be talking to that many people in our minds, but whatever, that's just me. So
all right. It's entertaining to watch her in the speed that I just put her on, but this video is just really, these videos are just really boring for me, because maybe for you too, because it's basically like once you kind of see through it, you see through it. And you know, I don't understand how this person even still exists, honestly, on YouTube. But okay, so that was a review. I hope it helped. You know, always use your discernment, obviously. And if you want to learn more about your own power, your own intuition, no channeling random entities, you can go to my own website, pleiadianhealer.com. Comment below if you want more reviews by different people or the same person. Let me know. And until then, have a good one. Bye, guys.